Alright, let me put on some music. Alright. It looks pretty solid. The main things that I was thinking the first time I watched it was it needs to be cleaned up. Like so. Since the VCam is zoomed in a lot, this is a little bit more zoomed in, but this is roughly what his stick figure looks like, and that is not cool. Usually, whenever I animate with brush, my goal is to try to make the stick figure as clean and neat as possible. Let me find him. It's one of these layers. Alright. So I draw my stick figure like just like that would be a limb. It looks like I use a higher smoothness than he does. In which case you just highlight it, use a smooth tool over there. In his case, I would do it section by section, probably. Um, if you do the whole thing at once, it might Jew it over like so. See that looks pretty neat, but some areas like right here, this has a ridge on it. You might want to move that a little bit. Mainly, whenever I draw with the brush, I only use really smooth and detailed smooth figures. For still moments such as this, he's got 55 frames where stick figures just in one position, so I wouldn't really focus too much on making it so detailed. Again, just work on the smoothness. You'd have to go in and do some of this. Otherwise, another thing I noticed was his joints. This leg is fine. This arm is pretty good, other than the lack of it being cleaned up. But if you notice when he moves, his limbs, like right there, like that shouldn't be bent back like that. And then it just. This is another thing I noticed. He did short limbs a lot, meaning the arm here. The arm should be like so. His is obviously like so, which the anatomy is a little messed up and it makes it very awkward when watching it. The same thing could be applied to his legs right there, where both of the upper leg are much taller than the lower. It makes it look very awkward when you do it, or watch it rather. Again, the leg, the arm, his arm movement, the lower arm looks a little weird. He doesn't have very good stances, in my opinion. His arms don't look like they align very well at the top. I'd probably move my arm there a little bit, as opposed to where his is. There's not very good placement. I feel like he should use a few more frames, maybe one or two more frames to add easing right here. And look at that transition. And he's basically just moving through. Um, like I said, the movements are pretty good. A lot of the fault here is failure to clean up his animation. Maybe he was drawing and trying to animate this too quickly. This is a very weird jump. if you look at the onion skin on the bottom, you see his foot placement. See, it moves every bit. Usually, whenever I animate, with brush tool especially, to keep my foot placement on point, I'll um, I'll select the whole image and move it, such as this. Like I'll select it, and I would have moved it to where the previous frame would have been. That way, you make things a little bit better. Then you just go in here, clean up every now and then. Usually, you'd only have to do one, maybe two hits with the smoothness tool on each area. When you're just going back frame by frame, looking for things to fix. Like I said, though, you wouldn't have to do it too detailed, as when it's animating, you wouldn't be able to notice it as often. Like if it was on this frame for a good 20 seconds, you'd obviously notice the ridges going down the spine and down the leg. Um, Again, the leg is very awkward. It goes here, then there, longer than shorter. Um, Having an issue. Sorry, I was playing WoW. I was having an issue looking for the force in this jump. It's a pretty high jump, but he only uses one leg. It doesn't seem like it has enough force to me. I probably would have tried to lower this leg down some and made the whole figure end up in a frontal bend. Look at me, I just did the same thing. Um, Another thing he could have done to make it better was do everything on a different layer. Like if he had the arm above the bar, that would have looked better. Just little details make your animations look a whole lot better. Like the head right there, I probably would have put the head on a higher layer. His lower arm is doing some weird movements, like right there, how it comes back down. Whoops. I don't like how he just sort of stops in midair and then moves, and like he's magnetic to it. The hand positioning is also very awkward at times. Like, alright, he's pulling himself to it, but look at how his hands move. I don't like that. He switches I would have added definitely smooth this out. The legs, the legs look okay in this area. Right here, I would have fixed the left leg. Um, he just look at this. He just sort of goes. He just sort of turns. I'm pretty sure if you were to try that in real life, as soon as you let go, you would fall and probably break your nose on this corner right there. Pretty sure that's what would happen. Um, so yeah, there's a lack of force right there. I probably at this point right here, after I ease the turnout, I probably would have tried to have him come back closer to the bar, or at least bend his legs a little bit and try to make it look like he pushed off and spun in midair when he grabs this. I mean, look at that. That's just that whole movement right there is awkward. Um, the legs again. He goes from there to there. Like, look at that. That's just weird. Elastic legs to there. His leg just falls through there. I mean, he falls through the whole thing. He can go through walls. Might as well be a ghost. There, there. Like, my whole thought process when watching this just like, what? Like, I can't do that. Like, how do you do that? Look, he's fucking it now. Look at that. Um, and it's just very awkward. Right here, he just sort of lays there. I would definitely would have smoothed that out. Um, I don't like big pauses like that. I don't see where you can just go constant movements and then all of a sudden just stop. Like, is he sleeping? I don't get it. Uh, there's no look at this. There's no anticipation here. The leg is messed up. He just sort of floats back through it. Like, look at that right leg placement. And look at the left leg. That's just awkward. Um, everything he also does. It's like if you've ever done used pivot to animate, and you'd make the back with like 5 different joints. That way, you could have it to where it bends more like that rather than a just a rigid joint. It's you can't really do that with the arms. The arms should never really be moving like this. They should be jointed. But yeah, I don't like that with his animating. He just sort of comes through the floor. There's anticipation here, which is good. Let's go down the timeline. He just sort of front flips off, which wasn't bad. Realistically, I don't think he really planned this out. He probably should have used some more frames or thought his positioning through, because looking at that, there's no way he's going to land on his feet. Like, you can't even pretend he's going to land on his feet falling like that. Yeah, there's not enough bend right there. I would have turned the whole thing even more like that. That looks a lot better. Then right here, I would have turned the whole thing like look at that. That's so much better. That looks like he's gonna plant his feet, bend forward, shift his weight. Everything's gonna be beautiful. He's gonna land perfectly. But then you got that. So when I play it again, it's gonna look fucking retarded. Um, his leg movement, usually one of the most important things people emphasize on when doing walks and runs is to make sure you have the in-between frame. When you have one foot like this, and one would be, look at me, I'm doing the same fucking thing, and you'd have one like this where they cross every time. uh, it would help you out a lot. Or like if you're doing a run and you're like that, you always need one of these frames whenever doing a walk or a run, where the feet obviously pass each other. And it doesn't really look like he does that. See, they're right next to each other, then they're just past. Then right here, he does the same thing. That I wouldn't really consider that. I mean, he obviously needs more frames. Look at the arm movements. That's just horrible. Again, like look at the left leg compared to the right leg. Oh, it's not gonna let me. There we go. Like here, I'll even put it right there. I'll put it right there, and versus this leg. Whoa, I forgot. Just animating like this. I don't particularly like animating with that tool. I don't know. I'll change the color of it so you can see the difference in length. Look at that. I mean, what? It's like he's got a midget leg going on. These are all just things to keep in mind when you're animating, because people do see that. Like, that's the first thing I looked at. The movements are pretty good. He's got a good sense of easing and anticipation in some areas, but if you paid a little bit more attention, it could be a whole lot better animation. If you put more time in it, it'd be a lot cleaner animation. It'd look really good. Um, Just little things. You could have spent 20 more minutes on this, and it would have been so much better. It just, I was given the impression that he rushed through this when I first watched it. Like look at these movements. Like that leg, like he's doing the stanky leg up here. He just, I don't know. It looks very sloppy. He's just sliding around. I like that. I like that when people do that in jumps, when they bend the legs in midair and then flex them out like that. I'm old school. I like the arms when they let them hang in the air like that rather than going out like that. Um, oh yeah, this is the part where he goes through the floor, isn't it? I was gonna say, why is he going through the floor like a ghost again? He must be a ghost. The slide, I like this part. The slide was pretty cool. Look at that. Look at that. He's break dancing down here. Um, See, realistically, judging by this frame, he's he should probably just turn and face plant the ground. Just that's what it looks like he's gonna do. Just like boom. But no, he's magic. He actually bent his leg, and now he's like, look at that. Look at his right leg. That doesn't even look like it's gonna. What? God, skills, dude. This red guy's got skills. Um, I would have added some more frames in there. Probably had him lean forward from that position, put his arms on the ground like so. You can't see it because that thing is in the way. And then I would have brought the back leg through and pushed off with that leg. So it would have been like a push off while bringing this leg through and having it like that. That's probably the position I would have done it in. Um, because if you do it like that, then the next frame would have been like a legitimate run. You could have bent the arm back and then taken off into the run cycle. Probably would have looked a lot better. Um, Again, the spike ball drops. I have an issue doing this where you just sort of you drop something through your character and they just totally ignore it because your character is a ghost and just runs through stuff like that. Um, look at the ball. Look at it. Why does it do that? Two on the ground, in the air it spins. Realistically, it looks like it's spinning as it's falling. If it were to hit the ground like that, I probably would have jumped it in the air. I can't do it. Probably would have kept the spikes going down like that and slowly rotate it, making it obvious that it wasn't there. I also personally feel like if that's meant to kill somebody, it should have some real weight to it, in which it would not bounce that high. Like that's some elasticity right there. He's getting some good air time with that. Let's go back to the movements. Whoa. Look at them run. Them run skills. Oh, look, another slope. I wonder what's going to happen. Pro material is what's happening. I like how he slides down. That's actually pretty good. Again, just clean up things like you're obviously missing a chunk of skin if your leg does that and then bends down and your joints right here. Like that's what happens right there. He had cabin fever. It just ate off his leg. This guy is a ghost who died of cabin fever, and now he runs obstacle courses for the rest of his life. Look at that. I should be paid to write stories for stuff like this. Right here, I don't like this at all. There's no anticipation here. I would have slid down and eased into a frontal roll. Wouldn't have left my back like that in a frame because whereas your legs are built to support your body weight, they are built to support your body weight. So yeah, your upper body right here, all of this probably weighs 2 times more than your legs are strong. Uh, so if your leg joints like this, then they can support your body weight. But if your legs joint like this and all your body weight's over here, I don't think they're just going to magically be able to pick you up. It's very awkward. So realistically, he probably would have stayed on the ground. Um, would have had to build up some anticipation to do a jump off using the arms. Like he's got boomerang arm going right here. Look at that. That's curved. Look at this one. This one's real good. Look at that joint. The joint probably be right there. I don't like this when everything's clustered in and it looks weird. Now he's got tumors. The guy with tumors, cabin fever, died, turned into a ghost, probably has super cancer, runs through shit for the rest of his eternity, I guess. Uh, yeah. And he just sort of, I know it happened. This guy has tumors, cabin fever, super cancer, died, he's a ghost, and they have spectral harnesses on him that can just lift him off into the air whenever he pleases. See, look, just spectral harness, go. Look at that. Oh my god, he's so successful. Um, Overall, it's a pretty good animation. I really enjoyed watching it, actually. There's just, like I said, he could have spent 20 more minutes on this, fixing everything, making it look better, taking his time when animating, maybe not even 20 minutes. If he were to clean up as he animated, it probably would have ended up taking him 20 minutes longer, but it would have looked a whole lot better. It would have been a lot more visually appealing. Uh, Other than that, other than the individual stick figures, movements, and lack of force and anticipation, the ball, spike ball dropping, that just apparently kills everything. I would have tried to add some detail into this background. Like, what is this thing? What is that? That's a ball. I would have tried to do something to make it known that hey, you can go through that. Or have you ever seen the escape from whatever animations on the stick page when the guy would go into a tunnel, they would have this whole thing like covered up and they would alpha it out showing that hey, look, he just entered an area like they do in a whole bunch of old school video games. I would have tried adding more color, probably a neat backdrop, something like that. I'm not sure, but like I said, it was overall a pretty good